Hello, Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to my December show and tell. I'm doing this super casual, you guys, because I have been hanging out. I'm on vacation this week. I didn't even turn off my phone. Look at me filming all cash. I don't look cash because I was playing with makeup, but other than that, like my outfit's very casual. We're just gonna hang out. I'm not gonna do any like switch between like face on and top down this time. I'm just gonna like share with you my favorite stuff. I'm finishing up my YouTube planner from 2020, so I actually have it outside of my traveler's notebook, so I will actually refer to it. By the way, last month I'm pretty sure I didn't talk about my favorite foods or memories, but there was a lot of, maybe I did talk about memories, I can't remember, but in case I didn't mention it last month, I was digging on peppermint mochas, chestnut praline lattes, and discovering that there was Chipotle's in Canada, which I didn't know there was. So in case I didn't mention that, that was awesome from November. But anyways, on to December, since I have my cheat sheet here. I have a pile of things, so we're just gonna dive in well, I've got an order because I've got a list, so let's not pretend there's not going to be an order. There's going to be an order because I like lists. Anyways, I hope you guys have been having an amazing December. I guess now it's January. Today I'm filming this. It is December 31st. You guys will see this video, I think, next week. But anyways, December went by really fast. I didn't even decorate for the holidays until like maybe a week into... maybe a week away from Christmas. I think it was like a week away from Christmas when I finally pulled out some decorations. And I went decoration light, y'all. I have a few like main things I pull out every year. Like I have one of those religious candles. I'll go grab it. Okay, I grabbed it. I was trying to decide how lazy I wanted to be for this video. So I've been pulling this out every year since I bought it. Gosh, I was living in Washington State when I bought this. So that means I've had it for at least 15 or 16 years. Anyways, it's one of these religious looking candles, and it's by a company called Continental Candle Company. And this is the Protection from Dysfunctional Family Christmas candle. And it literally shows some people sitting around their Christmas tree, and the Christmas tree is on fire, and they are roasting marshmallows. And I burn it a little bit every year. It's great. It's like the best holiday decoration ever. And actually the company name here says Everyday Icons, Shoreline, Washington. Everyday Icons. So I've had this for a long time. It's just like my own personal tradition. I don't actually read the back very often. That one's kind of the back is kind of kitschy, but I just think it's great to have a protection from dysfunction candle at Christmas time. Is it just me? Anybody? Okay. Anyways, that's what I like to light every year. So this is one of my favorite things. It comes out every year, even if like I don't do a lot of decorating. This always comes out and sits on my candle, on like a prominent space. This year it was on my altar. So love that. That was just a random. I had to talk about it right away. I don't know why, because I'm chatty. I'm talking really fast. Anyways, let's get into YouTube shout outs, favorites, things this month. So there's a couple things I wanted to mention. Myself, Danny, and Dustin got together for another 3 Fat Readers, and we talked about our sentimental decks. Oh, that was such a fun one. They're always fun. I always have a good time, but talking about the decks that like have some sort of like, that have a story, it was awesome to share mine, but it was more awesome, I think, just to hear the stories from Danny and Dustin about their decks. And we didn't pre-talk about anything we were going to talk about, so it was really neat to have that, and it was really good one. So if you haven't checked it out, check it out. I always have a link to 3 Fat Readers, which is our collaborative channel. I always have that in my description box, so check it out. I will try to remember to put a link to this specific video in the description box. Other things that I noted down in here that I really enjoyed this year. So one of them was a few people recommended to me the Astrology Podcast, which is both a YouTube channel and a podcast. So they actually film their podcasts a lot like Sammy and Skylar do for Speaking of Which. These are long. They're like 3-ish hours long, but I watched my very first one, and it was the 2021 Year Ahead podcast, and I thought it was really, really interesting. I actually had it playing on Christmas Eve when I was at work. I kind of had it playing in the background, and while I don't think I absorbed everything, I definitely absorbed some things, and it was really interesting to hear them talk about, like, kind of go through the entire year of what was happening astrologically and like what their predictions were and things like that. So it was really fun. Also kind of related to, not kind of, definitely related to astrology. Warrior Witch Nike is a channel that I watch fairly regularly, and she created a video called Teach Yourself Astrology. That was really great. It had just a really nice overview of some astrological stuff. I really enjoyed it. I typically like to watch channels like that are in more of the witchy space fairly regularly, so I have several that I subscribe to, and Nike is definitely one of them. And if you haven't checked out her channel, I recommend it. Go take a peek, see what you think. I think that's all I had written down. I'm sure there were other YouTube things, but to be honest, I wasn't watching a whole ton of YouTube in December. Let's talk magic-y things. I didn't do a lot of magical workings in December. My favorite crystal is still this gorgeous Angel Aura like rose quartz that I got from Dustin. It's like, oh my gosh, when I hold it up like this, because of the light that's in front of me, it like, I can see right through it. Sorry, it's really pretty. But this is like such a great little palm stone size. It's like, it sits kind of right in the center of my palm. I know I talked about it. I'm pretty sure I talked about it last month too. But this is like the crystal that has been close at hand for me for a little while now. So I was like, I've got to mention it. I'm going to put it back on my reading table now. But I had to mention that. Magically, other than my regular like ongoing practices, there's nothing really to report, I don't think, for December. Nope. Bath and beauty stuff. Beauty stuff, I didn't do my nails a lot over the past month, but I have been doing them the last few weeks or so, and I managed to scoop up these little beauties. So these are from Essie's limited edition holiday line, and these are all like frosted. So I'm wearing the pink right now, and that is this shade, and it is called Sugar Plum Fairy Tale, which I think is so pretty. They're all like, they kind of all have gold shimmer all the way through. Yeah, they're all gold. So there's the pink one is Sugar Plum Fairy Tale. The blue one is Love at Frost Sight, which I have not worn yet, but I have worn the green one, which is Peppermint Condition. Peppermint Condition. So that's what that one looks like. So they're really pretty. They just have this like kind of frosty look about them, and they're a lot of fun. And I actually scooped these up. Peggy was at like a dental appointment, and I went down to the Shoppers Drug Mart that's like right underneath where her dentist is, and they had these on display, and I was like, oh, I like all three. There was like 4 colors, I think. I picked up 3 of the colors. I came back later that day to like fill a prescription for her or something, and they were like basically already sold out of all of them. And I was like, I had good timing. So these are really pretty. And Essie has changed their nail brush, so it's wide like those Guerlain. I know I'm saying that wrong. I just can't remember the right way to say it. Polishes that I raved about that you can't find anymore. These have a nice wide brush like those. Really, Shayla? Is this what we're gonna do now? Oh, thank you. She's gonna lay down now. Anyways, so those are in my sort of beauty body favorites for the month. And then also in that category are, I've only used one of these so far. So John, our son John's girlfriend Kim, gave us these really sweet bath bombs. These to me, okay, these smell really good. I think she got them at like a local farmer's market, but there is a rose one, a yuzu one, which I think is this one. I think this is the yuzu one. And then this one is like lavender. So they're like all scents that I really, really like. Peggy wanted one. I think I'll let her use the yuzu one. I already used the citrus one, but these are really nice. They're a good size. I like these like slightly smaller bath bombs. The big ones always feel extra luxurious and like also semi-wasteful because they're so big. I used to, there's a trick with like the big Lush bath bombs where if you take a butter knife, be careful when you do this, but if you find the seam, actually I should show you. You could do it on these too, but there's so little already. But you find the seam along the side, and you can just place your butter knife there. And if you just tap the end of your butter knife gently with like, I don't know, a nearby book or something, just like lightly, usually these will split in half because they're made in circular molds and then smushed together. So they're usually pretty easy to split along the seam. And I used to do that with my Lush bath bombs all the time. So I'd get 2 big baths out of my bath bombs because they're pricey and they add up, and I love bath bombs. Anyways, so these are really fun. I had to mention them. And then I've been using these for a long time, and I thought I'd show them to you. I have more than what's here. These are the best freaking things. I will have a link to these down below. Does it say what the brand is? No. Anyways, these are really soft, fuzzy, like cloth replacements for like facial cotton rounds. If you use cotton rounds for like taking off your makeup or whatever, but these are made out of the same kind of cloth as those magic erasers that you can use. Makeup erasers, not magic erasers. Oh my god, that's something else entirely. That's a cleaning product. Makeup eraser is basically just a fabric just like this, basically. If you wet this with warm water and just like squeeze it out, you can take off most of your makeup with just water with these. More than that though, you can apply your skincare with these. You can just put a little soap on them and wash your face with these. I have applied makeup with these, similar to, there was Tati came out with a product that was like this, that was kind of triangular shaped, called, I forget what it was called, but it was for applying makeup, and there was a whole bunch of videos people made applying their makeup with this thing. So I've done similar things with this. I've applied foundation with this, I've applied powder with these, and then they came in a set of, I think, 20, maybe 10, but like, I just kind of keep them in a little dish in my bathroom, and then when I'm ready to wash them, they came with this wash bag. Just pop them in there, throw them in the laundry with the regular laundry, and they come out like perfect again. But like, you can apply serums and you can apply toners and things like that with these, and then I don't have to buy those disposable cotton rounds. I still have some that I'm using up, but I also use the disposable ones for nail polish remover. I don't know that I would trust acetone on something like this, but these are great for basically everything else I would reach for a cotton round for. So love these. I will have a link down below if you are interested, but it's also very eco-conscious because you're not constantly buying something disposable, you're just reusing these. They're great. They're great. And I really just like that at the end of the day, instead of a makeup wipe that I would throw in the garbage, I can just wet those and take off most of my makeup. And then what I'll usually do is after the water step, I'll get some micellar water and I'll dampen it with some micellar water, and that will usually get off anything that the regular water didn't get. And then I do my regular cleanse. And anyway, it's nice. I like it a lot. So that's it, I think, for body. I'm just looking at my pile of stuff. TV and movies. So finally finished She-Ra, Princess of Power, the new one, and oh, it was so good. I like cried through the last 2 episodes. It was so good. It was so good, and it was like, it felt very complete at the end, and it was really good. It like ticks off so many boxes for just a really enjoyable show. There was a total of, I think, 5 seasons. Was it 5? 4 or 5. And so my friend and I finished those just a few days ago. So happy. Loved the ending. Won't give you any more details. In case any of you happen to be watching She-Ra, please let me know down below if you have watched or are watching She-Ra. Don't go into the new She-Ra expecting it to be anything like the nostalgia She-Ra. It's a brand new, to me, I just treated it like a brand new show, and I enjoyed it for what it was, and it was good. What else did I watch? I wrote it down. Hold on. Oh, I'm back in October. How did that happen? Oh, there we go. Oh yeah, I watched holiday movies. So this year I watched the Santa Claus 1, 2, and 3, which are the Tim Allen movies. I love those. Watched those. I also watched, I think it might be a Netflix, or was it a Disney Plus movie? I don't know. It has Anna Kendrick in it, and it's called Noelle, and that was really super cute. Really enjoyed that. I think that's new-ish. I think it came out in the last few years. I usually watch Elf. I didn't watch Elf this year. Just didn't get around to it. Also, I don't know if it was on Netflix, and I'm lazy. So if it wasn't on Netflix or Disney Plus, I probably didn't watch it. But I don't watch a lot of TV, so that was pretty much, I think that was it for the entire month of December. And food-wise, let's see. We had so much delicious food in December. So I got Peggy an Instant Pot for her birthday. And so the Instant Pot's a favorite. Just consider that a random favorite as well. But we did ribs in the Instant Pot 3 different times. We did side ribs once, and they came out perfect. They were so good. We did back ribs, I think, twice. And the second time was my favorite. And that was amazing. Those were so good. Like, just the fact that you can get ribs that basically like fall off the bone in like 35 minutes. Can't praise it highly enough. So fun. There's other things I want to do in there too. I would like to try my hand at making yogurt, even if I'm just making it for my hair. If you don't know, I use yogurt when I do my henna in my hair, and I'm way overdue. So maybe try it for that. See, maybe taste test it first to see if it's actually edible, and if not, just use it in my hair, which is also fine. And what else do I want to, I don't know, there's a few things I want to try and make in there, but yeah, love that. And I also had one day at work Peggy was like, hey, buy yourself lunch. And so I bought myself fancy sushi from a fancy sushi place, and I had it delivered, and it was so good. And I found a place like close enough to actually deliver that had really good Dungeness crab oshi and salmon oshi. And I don't know if I'm saying that right, but if you've ever had those, it's like a pressed sushi. So it's pressed rice with fish, and it's usually seared, and there's like extra flavors and like little teeny toppings, and no seaweed in this type. And it's so good. It was my favorite thing. And what else food wise? Oh yeah. And then after we had our Christmas turkey, a couple days later, like day or two, I think it was like the day after, you know what I mean? Steve roasted our carcass for like hours, and then also alongside, John had made a turkey for Kim's family, and then they brought their carcass over. So we had double carcass, and he like roasted it for a really long time and made this amazing stock that literally was so broken down that when it was all done and it had sat in the fridge, it was like a big pot of like turkey flavored jello, which I know sounds disgusting, but it just means there was so much really good collagen and healthy stuff in there. And it tasted like, it tasted almost like gravy soup. It was really good. He made soup out of it. That was the punchline. Sorry. He made soup out of it. So then he added vegetables and like potatoes, corn, carrot, celery, turkey. It was so good. I could have eaten it for a week. We didn't have a week worth because we shared with John and Kim, which, you know, I guess they could have some. It's fine, but it was really good. It was really good. I could have eaten it for a while. It was yummy. If you don't have turkey soup after you've had turkey, then like I feel like you're missing part of the experience of having the turkey in the first place. Like I feel like turkey soup is like the thing you're supposed to do with leftover turkey stuff. That, and Peggy likes to make us these hot open-faced turkey sandwich things that are also really good. We didn't do that this time because we had soup and it was worth it. And there's a few other things. Turkey salad. There's a few things I like to have with leftovers, but soup is definitely near the top of the list, and it was so good. It was probably the best turkey soup I've ever had in my life. It was yummy. It was really good. That was a lot of food talk. Other things, we got a Ring Fit. Have you seen these for the Nintendo Switch? So it's like an exercise. It's like an exercise game, but it's actually really super fun. I want to play with it today, so I pulled the ring out anyways, but it's like kind of like an action adventure game, but you kind of like run in place and you like squeeze this and you like pull it and you like shoot things with it, and there's all kinds of things to do with it. Do you have one of these? It's fun, right? It's fun. It's fun. I like it. Anyways, so I had to talk about that. What else was random in here? I have a few things. Keep losing my place, and I still have this pile of stuff, but I've got so many different things. Okay, I mentioned the Instant Pot. Also favorites. This actually came in November, but I didn't show it last month, but Dustin had sent me this. This is not the prettiest thing. I don't think I showed it last time, but it is like this gorgeous chakra wall hanging. It is so, so pretty. It actually hangs above my one altar space over there, and I just love it. So I wanted to mention that in my show and tell. Also, I was sent some really, well, Peggy and I technically were both sent, but I've been using all the things. Some really, really nice candles from Mystical Fusions, which I talked about before. This one, though, was the mistletoe one, and I burned it, like, constantly. Like, I literally burned this thing until it was gone the week leading up to Christmas and through Christmas. It smelled so good, and I normally do not like pine-like scents, but this had a bit of pine. It's kind of like, if I were to just guess, I'd say like pine with cinnamon and orange, maybe. I'd probably be wrong. It almost has that, there was a candle I used to get from Bath & Body Works that had a scent of snow. What was it called? Like, it was like the scent of cold, almost. This has that in it, like that scent of cold or snow. And I don't know where I'm getting that from. I don't know if that's like something fruity or something sweet. I don't know. I'm not good with smell, scent identification things, but it smells really good. I wish I had another one. It smells really, really, really good. But it was so perfect for the holiday. So I loved the heck out of that. What else do I have in my random pile? Oh, I am retiring for this year the Traveler's Notebook that I used for the last year and a half. So watch for some videos coming in January where I'm going to take you through what was in here for the last year and a half. I'm also going to take you through my new systems I'm using for 2021 for journaling and planning and all of that kind of thing. But this felt very momentous, and this is still a favorite. So this actual Traveler's Notebook comes from Bassy & Co. And I will try to remember to have a link to them down below. But this is a shop. It was a shop on Etsy. I think they just now ship out of their own website. But this is really nice. It's a vegetable tanned leather. It's really sturdy. It did soften a bit over time, but it's been a tried and true for 18 months or so now. So I'm swapping out to some new things for 2021, and I will definitely be using this again. It's just getting a break now. So I had to mention that. I'm sure there's other things. Oh yes. I used this reading cloth a bunch in December. Look at the fox. Isn't it cute? So I use that side, but I also use that side. So that's one of my randoms. Other randoms, I have been playing, still playing Animal Crossing and also playing Yoshi's Crafted World, which is the cutest game. The cutest. Before I get into decks and books, I just realized I have a little pile in front of me of several things I got Happy Mail that I wanted to kind of put in randoms because I didn't know where else to put them. So first of all, if you didn't know, in the Supportive Tarot Facebook group that Peggy and I admin, we hosted a Elfster-based holiday card exchange for the holidays. So people could opt in and they could send each other cards, add other goodies if they want, but just cards was basically the deal. And a lot of people have gotten their things. Not everybody has gotten their things. It's hard because the postal system has been very overwhelmed, but we did get a few pieces of mail in. So Peggy and I each participated separately. So we sent out 2 separate things. We got 2 separate things back in. And I got a really, really lovely card that was super cute. I was going to just find it here to show you. It was really adorable. The card itself was cute. There was a really, really lovely note in it. Look at how cute. It says, people don't notice whether it's winter or summer when they're happy. How cute is that? But the person who had me in the gift exchange also donated to one of my favorite charities, which is Oceanwise here in Vancouver area. Well, they're Canada, I should say. I shouldn't say they're Vancouver, but I think they have a base here in Vancouver. But that was really super sweet. The note was amazing. So that totally made my holiday. I also got a surprise card from a member of our community that really just warmed my heart. It was totally unexpected. And it was a bit of a mystery because there wasn't a return address on it at first, and it was signed. So I was like, this has got to be like this person, right? So it was kind of fun. And I got some really sweet stickers that are from The Last Unicorn. So this says, I be a cat and no cat anywhere ever gave anyone a straight answer, which is one of my favorite quotes from The Last Unicorn, and also this Last Unicorn sticker. And then Peggy got 2 really hilarious sewing stickers, one of which was something like, I sew because murder is illegal or something, I think, and then the other, or murder is bad, I think. And then the other one was about not using her fabric scissors or she would cut me. I say me because I'd be the one reaching for her fabric scissors. That's so funny. But it says something like, if you touch my fabric scissors, I'll cut you or something. And then it says, but not with these scissors. It was really funny. So that was fun. And then this was not a gift, but this is something I did order from Joanna Nelson's studio. Y'all know I am a fan. And she put out a run. I don't know if these are still available. I know that they were limited. But she put out a run of metal illuminator cards. Now this is the special card that was in the, oh boy, there's going to be a lot of glare. The first edition Mons Tarot. The Illuminator card is a really great card, but she put this out in metal. So this feels like brushed aluminum, I'm guessing, and it is so pretty and like shiny, obviously shiny because you can see the glare, but it's pretty and signed. So I'm really excited about that, and it arrived safely. I was a little nervous, like thin metal in the mail, so much could go wrong, but it arrived beautifully, so I've got to figure out how to put that. I'm probably just going to keep it, actually, it's literally the exact same size as the cards, so I'll probably actually just keep it in the box with the cards, but it's so pretty. So love that. That was a really cool thing, and that arrived just the other day, so I had to talk about it. Okay, let's talk decks. So I'm not going to flip this around, like I said. I'm just going to talk through because I worked with a lot in December. Oh wait, books first, then decks. I actually have 4 books to talk about this month. So first up, I've talked about this book before, but I read it, I feel like I read it again or I just hadn't finished it all the way in December. And this is the She Book Volume 2 by Tanya Marcool. Huge fan of this book. I'm a huge fan of Tanya and her first book, the She Book. So good. The poetry in here is incredible. If you just want something that, I mean, here's one of my dog-eared ones. Blessed are the rejected. To those who've been refused attention, acknowledgement, or love, it's time to whisper a final sweet goodbye. And every time that cord grows back, cut it off. You've changed, they haven't. Your heart is open, theirs isn't. Your river needs to flow, and it's time to open the dam. Blood doesn't always mean family. No doesn't translate into never. Hold on to yourself, pray with reckless abandon to be free, and don't return to paths that don't serve you. I mean, the whole thing is so freaking good. And also there's a neat section in the back of She Book where there's a poem for every month. So May is Lily of the Valley Woman, June is Rose Woman, July is Larkspur Woman, so forth and so on all the way through. December is Narcissus Woman. She brings faith and teachings of respect, calming and anoints tough and unknown times with peace. It just goes on. So it's really good. And I love that at the very end it's believe in what you can become. Anyways, really, really good. If you enjoy empowering poetry, you would love this. So I need to put it over with my other poetry books over there without disturbing my dog. Okay. As far as like fiction books that I read or finished in December, I think I talked about The Little Shop of Found Things in my November favorites, but I think I technically finished it in December. This was good. The sequel, Secrets of the Chocolate House, these are by Paula Braxton. The sequel was, in my opinion, better. And I think part of the reason it was better is because the first one sort of established the main character's deal, which is that she is, essentially she has, why do I always forget the name of it? The thing where you touch things and you can get intuitive hits from it. Why do I always forget the name of that one? Why? What's that called? Anyway, somebody's going to be yelling at their screen. I'm sorry. Anyway, she has that. They don't call it that, I don't think, in here. But anyway, she calls it when objects sing to her. And her mom and her have a antique shop called the Little Shop of Found Things. So she ends up encountering a very special item, and then it sends her on a bit of an adventure. But establishing that this is how it all works kind of happened in the first book. So I think to me, the first book felt a little slower. Whereas in the second book, you're visiting the same character and she's going on another adventure, but they don't have to reestablish all of that stuff again. So it felt faster paced to me and I really enjoyed it. Now there is a third book in this series. I don't know that I got both of these on Book Outlet. You can always tell if I get them on Book Outlet because there's like a black dot on them. So I got these for like a killer deal. I don't think I would pay full price to get the third book, mostly because I have so many other books to read right now. Speaking of which, I'll be sharing all the books I have to read this year with you guys shortly. But anyways, because I have so much to read, I don't think I'm going to worry about the third book. There wasn't like enough of a cliffhanger where I feel like I need to read the third book. But these were both really good. And if you get a chance to read Paula Braxton, I would definitely recommend her writing style. It was a lot of fun and it was very atmospheric. So if you like that, these were fun. Also, this was probably my favorite book of December, Goddess in the Machine by Laura Beth Johnson. This is a special Owl Crate edition. I am tempted to keep this book because I enjoyed it so much, except for it's one of those books where once you read it through, there's like a lot of things that come through in the story. It's kind of like watching a movie again when you already know like the big spoiler things that happen. And I think there are some really big, like kind of, there's some things that you could figure out. I'm very easy to surprise in stories. Very easy to surprise in general. But this book was really good and I think there were some good twists. And I think because I know the twists now, I don't know that I would read it again. But I enjoyed it so much and it's so beautiful that part of me is like, should I keep it just to keep it? But then I have limited space. So I'm probably going to end up passing it along. But this was an Owl Crate book. So it has the letter from the author in here. This was really good. And I haven't read, this is very sci-fi, I would say. And I haven't read sci-fi in a very long time. But the concept of this was just really good. And I'm so glad I read it. It was, again, probably one of my favorites, I would say, of the year. It was really fun. And it was a great standalone story. I don't know if there is a sequel or if there's going to be, but it didn't feel like it needed one. It was just a really good story. So loved this. And then I also read and just finished the other day The Antidote by Shelley Sakier. So this is what the cover looks like. This was another book outlet find. This was good. It took me a while to get into it. I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed following it through, but there were several spots in the book where I felt like the attempts to, I guess, create intrigue or mystery just left me feeling a little bit bewildered and confused. Like, I don't feel like there were good segues between these like weird moments that would happen and the rest of the story. So it felt almost jarring. And it was still cool to see it all come together in the end. And I guess I enjoyed finishing it. I didn't feel the urge to put it down and not finish it, but I didn't like the way that it was very like confusing in places instead of just, I don't know, more seamless hint dropping. Does that make any sense? I enjoyed it. I don't know that I'd recommend it, but the concept of the story was basically there's a society that has been put under some kind of like essentially kind of like a quarantine sort of situation, and there's a whole story that unravels, I guess, or unfolds. I'm not very good at this. I'm not sure even how to describe it. It was interesting. There's a lot of cool magic in it. Yeah, I don't know. But I'm glad I read it. It was good. It wouldn't be one of my favorites of the year. Okay, let's talk decks because I worked with so many things. I'm not going to dive super deep into anything, but I feel like I played with a lot. So I kicked off the month. I'm pretty sure I kicked off the beginning of the month working with the Oak, Ash, and Thorn Tarot by Three Trees Tarot. And if you don't know, they are working, Adam Oler, I believe is the artist. They are working on their next deck now, which is going to be dragons, earth dragons, as I understand it. This deck is so beautiful. It's a really wonderful nature and animal inspired deck, and I'm so glad that I backed this on Kickstarter. It's beautiful cardstock. The artwork is really lovely. It's got a bit of that slowing down kind of energy about it, and I think I even said in my walkthrough, I think I called it a meditative deck. This would be a beautiful deck for path working, and I really enjoyed working with it. I didn't know what I wanted to pair with it though, so what I ended up actually pairing with it is the Animal Speak runes by Ted Andrews. So I keep these in this pouch. This is actually the pouch that came with the Way of the Panda Tarot, but I love using it for my runes, the little Nature Speak runes. So if you haven't seen these, they're like little wooden runes, and they have animal and a keyword on them. So horse is movement. Hopefully these are focusing. I can't tell because I'm further back from the camera. So yeah, these are great. And this worked great next to Oak, Ash, and Thorn. I really enjoyed using these together. So that's what I used, I'm pretty sure, in the first week of the month. I also worked with the, oh boy, what order was everything in? I don't remember the order. I worked with the Modern Witch Tarot by Liminal 11. Okay, so this deck is awesome, and I really love it, and I really bonded with the artwork over the time that I worked with this deck. It is a fantastic version of a Rider-Waite-Smith. It feels very modern and diverse and fresh. It feels relatable. I really enjoy the art style in this, and I actually initially, I believe, anti-hauled this deck in favor of This Might Hurt Tarot, which is probably my all-time favorite Rider-Waite-Smith clone, particularly when it comes to modern and diverse imagery. But I thought I didn't need this, and I love this deck. But man, I have such a complaint about the cardstock, having tried to work with it. On one hand, the cardstock's really sturdy, and if you exclusively like hand over hand shuffle, this deck is glorious for that. It hand over hand shuffles like a dream. It'll hold up really well. The cardstock is thick. It is glossy, which I can live with, but for riffle shuffling, there's just something about this cardstock that makes the riffle shuffle feel like impossible. I don't know, but I felt like I fought with it all week, which was frustrating, but it's so beautiful. And again, it feels like it'll hold up really well. I think if I wanted to grab a deck from my collection right now and take it with me, I don't know, to like a bar or something, I would definitely bring this because it feels like it would actually survive okay. And glossy cardstock can be great for like wiping off spills and things like that. Not that they're foolproof, but they're definitely better than matte cards for that. So like it's good to have a card deck that feels more indestructible. But when it comes to just grabbing something off the shelf to reach for, I want that good riffle shuffle. And I know that makes me sound so superficial and like spoiled, because I am in that way. But yeah, I loved working with it, but I just wanted that better shuffle. So I actually reached out to Liminal 11, but they're on holidays, because I know that they have since moved away from this really thick cardstock. And so I asked them if they have plans to reprint this deck in the future on a thinner cardstock, glossy or not glossy. And so if I hear back, I will keep you guys posted. Maybe I'll drop a comment on this video or something, or mention it in a future video. Something. I will keep you guys posted if I hear back, but I am curious. Next to that deck, I actually worked with my Healers of the Earth Oracle by Mandy Peterson, I believe it is. Hopefully I didn't get that wrong, because I don't have a book or anything here with it. This is a great out-of-the-box intuitive reader. It's a beautiful cardstock. This cardstock is like bendy, but it feels sturdy, and it's a glorious matte. When this deck first came out, it was bordered and glossy, I believe, and now it is matte and borderless, or at least the version I have is matte and borderless. I got this version, I want to say at the end of 2019 or early 2020. No, it must have been the end of 2019. Might have even been before that, but I played with this next to the Modern Witch Tarot. I will say my one issue with this deck, I love this deck, but I don't have any tarot decks that have this kind of artwork. And by that I mean this looks like a deck that was illustrated in a program like a 3D modeling program like Poser. I don't know if that program even still exists, but it used to exist. Which is like where you get 3D modeling like you get for video games. There's something about that feels incongruent when I put it next to a lot of my tarot decks. But yet it's such a great oracle deck, and it does read really well. I just find that I struggle with what I compare it with. So I'd be curious if you guys have this deck, or even just looking at it now, if you have suggestions for decks you think it might look really nice next to. Sometimes when I put it next to something, it just feels, like I said, it feels incongruent. Like it doesn't quite synergize properly. But yet I really enjoy working with it, and I love working with it on its own. But I do tend to most of the time reach for oracle decks like this to pair with tarot decks. But I enjoy pulling it out and playing with it and working with it. So no complaints there. Now I also worked with, this month, the Tarot of the Crone. Oh, you guys. So this I recently put up my walkthrough of this deck, which I'd actually filmed quite a bit ago. But this is beautiful, and it is coming back. I was like, oh man, I'm wondering, it's got just a plain black backing. Now I think that the current edition is more matte than the one I have, but I really enjoyed working with this deck. There's a lot of depth to it and a lot of potency to it, and I feel like it's so great for this time of, for this time of the year. It really makes a lot of sense, and the guidebook is really great. I love this wheel with the labyrinth. Oh my gosh, I love this so much. I really enjoyed working with this. It is a much more abstract deck than most of my decks, and I would definitely say it's more abstract than I think a lot of us have dealt with. This is one of those images. There's a few images in here where I feel like sometimes I look at the negative space and see that as the card. Oh, I love this Empress. But yeah, this is a really neat deck, and again, very potent. Wonderful to do, I would say, for any kind of magical work or any kind of spiritual readings. I think this would be really great for that. Loved working with it. And I worked with it. I was like, what do I pair with the Tarot of the Crone? And you know what paired beautifully with this deck for my own personal work was the Oracle of Echoes by Anna Turian. This, I think my dog's stomach just growled, or she growled. I don't know which. Anyway, this made such a fantastic pairing for the Tarot of the Crone. It worked really well. I think it's because this deck also pulls no punches. It's potent. And it has those darker, bolder tones. So this really, really worked. And I enjoyed using it next to the Tarot of the Crone for sure. So always love the Oracle of Echoes. It's a longtime favorite. I wish it had more cards. Like I wish it was chunkier. Like I would take twice as many cards like this for an Oracle deck, because I love a chunky Oracle deck. And this is actually one of the only ones with fewer cards that I still have. Actually, that's not true, I suppose. but I just wish it had more. I wish it had more. Does that make me greedy? But I love this deck, and it does pair well with just about everything. And then the last couple of, well, I guess the last week, so I've been on vacation from work between Christmas and New Year's. At the time I'm filming this, I'm still technically on vacation. And I wanted to work with fairy tale decks. So, where did it go? Or where are you? Oh, actually there's two things before that. Sorry, before I worked with the fairy tale decks, so the third week of the month, I guess you could say, I worked with the Angel Tarot by Radley Valentine. I really like this deck. Like, I know I just recently put up my walkthrough. Again, filmed a bit ago. But I love the way that the suits are organized. So all of the Earth suit is all fairies. The Major Arcana is archangels. The Wand suit is dragony. Dragony and fire. Yeah, it's all dragony and fiery. The Water suit is mermaids. And the air suit is, or excuse me, the air suit is unicorns. And it just, where's my air cards? Hello? Where are you? There we go. Here's the 9 of air. I really, really, really like it. And I don't know if it's that combination of like fairies, dragons, mermaids, unicorns, because that's a great combo, right? And the archangels for the majors actually really works. The artwork has so much to it, and the common complaint I've seen is that the artwork is so detailed and it should be bigger, and maybe these cards would be better if they were bigger, but they're already oracle sized as far as like a tarot deck is concerned. And I feel like the scene still pops. There is a lot of border. I mean, oh, I just threw that card all the way across the floor. Well, I'm going to get it after the video. Anyway, there's a lot of border in these cards, right? But I feel like the images are still really there. Like here's Ego for 15 the Devil, and you have this like masked figure, and you also have the messages at the bottom. So if you were newer to tarot and you wanted to get to know the cards, I feel like these messages work. Like Ego for the Devil, it says a false sense of entrapment, being overly focused on material things, negative or fear-based thoughts. Like those are all really great. And you have Archangel Jophiel, and of course the little guidebook also has more information. And several people have also pointed out there is a larger guidebook. I don't really work with the book much with these cards because I feel like they're great little intuitive readers and they already have messages on them. But if you were the type that you really wanted to do a dive into this particular system, there's a lot you could chew on if you wanted to. And I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed working with this deck. Also, I think the backs are really pretty. So that was fun, and I worked with that. I didn't pair it with any kind of an oracle deck because I didn't feel like I needed to with this one. It just was great to do 3-card spreads or whatever every day all on its own. But then I spent about a week playing with fairy tale decks. And what happened for me was I was working with Lisa Hunt's Fairy Tale Tarot. I have the Spanish version. So as far as I know, you can still get the Spanish version. It's very easy to translate the titles once you get used to what everything is. And I did take some Spanish in high school, but I don't know that that's really helping me much beyond the numbers, like ochos or 8s, doses or 2s, tres or 3s, nueves, 9, etc. Like that helped, I guess, there. But like, I don't know. This is one of those decks that I'm really glad I have it, and I actually do have a copy of the guidebook in English that I traded with a friend for a while back. And I love having the full story, which you get in the full guidebook. And I think if you get the Spanish edition, you can also use the app to get the full guidebook, the mobile phone, like the smartphone app. But I don't know what it is. I feel like I'm just not bonding with this deck. And I've used it a few times. Again, I'm glad I have it. I feel like I get use out of it. But I don't know if it's that, like some of the stories I immediately recognize, like the Ace of Pentacles is the Elves and the Shoemaker. And maybe because I recognize that story, I get more out of that card. I don't know. I haven't decided. But as I was working with this deck, I was filming a video, which is coming up in January. So watch for that. But I was filming a video, and in the video I was talking about a different deck, and I ended up getting so excited about the other fairy tale deck that I swapped out midweek, and that is the Tarot of the Divine by Yoshi Yoshitani. So I switched out partway through that week to switch out to this deck because I don't know why, but this is the fairy tale deck that I seem to have bonded with the easiest. And I wasn't able to bond with my Baba Studios fairy tale deck either, but this one I've totally bonded with. And I think it's because when I pull these cards, and I mentioned this again in another video, but when I pull these cards, I feel like they depict the card itself, even if you don't know the story, you can still see the meaning of the card in the way that the card is depicted. And I actually think, oh no, I just threw another card. Well, I actually think that made it easier for me to bond with this deck over and above the other two fairy tale decks that I've tried to bond with. Now that being said, I don't know that this combination of the Lisa Hunt deck and book are going to go anywhere, because I think I might regret it if I pass them along. But I have to say the Yoshi deck is my favorite, and you still have a nice big book that comes separate that you can get. It comes with its own like guidebook, but then you can also get this big separate book that has gorgeous full color illustrations, right? And the little snapshot of a story. So yeah, it's my favorite fairy tale deck, and I really enjoyed working with it this month. And beside those, as the Oracle deck, and this one I also may eventually pass on as well, because it does lean really like negative in a lot of its readings, is the Rackham Oracle, which has a lot of really cool like vocabulary, basically words on it. And I love the Arthur Rackham artwork. Like here's Rapunzel, but the word is like parasite, dominating influence. It's more, I would say it leans more negative than most Oracle decks, which can be nice if you have a lot of kind of light and fluffy Oracle decks, but it leans so negative that it's like I was almost wincing to use it, which is not good. So I haven't used it in a while. I think I may eventually pass it on, but on the other hand, it's super unique, so we'll see. I think I've covered everything. This was a lot. This was a long one. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for my December show and tell. I would love to hear about the things that you've been enjoying and using and loving this month. So let me know in the comments down below. Please remember to like this video if you enjoy these show and tells, subscribe if you're new here, and don't forget to click the little bell so you're notified of all my future videos and live streams. If you want to book a reading with me, you can always do that over at supportivetarot.com. Thank you so much, and may your magic always shine from the inside out. Bye guys!